All right, so today we got to break down this whole Claressa Shields situation, the fallout with Nigeria, and everything Shalita has been exposing behind the scenes. She's out here dropping detail after detail, giving people the full picture, and honestly, you can feel the tension building with every new revelation. And I'm not gonna lie, this drama keeps getting messier because the same person calling everybody else fake is somehow always standing in the middle of the chaos. That's the part people can't ignore anymore. Claressa keeps throwing around the word snake, but viewers are starting to ask a different question entirely. Who's really moving funny behind closed doors? Because from the outside looking in, it's starting to look like she plays both sides, depending on what benefits are at the moment. One minute it's loyalty, the next minute it's distance and sneak shots, and people are catching on to the pattern now. She builds relationships when there's something attached to them that can help her image, brand, or career. Look at the whole Layla Ali connection. It wasn't just friendship people were seeing there, it was visibility, business opportunities, sponsorship energy, and the kind of cosign that elevates a fighter's entire public image. But the second criticism entered the conversation, even constructive criticism, everything shifted fast. Suddenly the relationship goes left, the narrative changes, and now the person who once supported you becomes the villain. We've seen this play out too many times. Then there's Franchon Cruz Dezern, somebody who had history with Claressa long before all this internet drama even exploded. They worked together, moved in the same circles, built trust over years, and that's why people were shocked when things started turning sour between them too. Because according to people close to the situation, Franchon helped Claressa navigate spaces she wasn't even comfortable in yet. That's why the betrayal accusations hit harder. It's not just internet gossip anymore when former allies start speaking with the same tone and the same frustration. And here's where it gets even crazier, because apparently some of the personal tea was already known behind the scenes long before the public caught on to it. This was before all the stories and timelines people later heard online, before the explanations started changing depending on the interview. Folks around them allegedly already knew way more than what fans were being told publicly. So when people act shocked now, insiders are basically saying, nah, this has been going on for a while. And that's why the timeline conversations refuse to die down. Then you add in the accusations involving the toy drive situation and the fallout connected to the kids and their mother, and suddenly the internet started looking at Claressa completely differently. Because once family drama and community issues get involved, audiences stop treating it like a harmless celebrity mess. It starts feeling personal, and critics say that's where the image really began taking damage. Even the family dynamics people keep bringing up have viewers raising eyebrows. One minute there's public support, love, and money being thrown around, and the next minute relationships seem strained, distant, or completely transactional. That inconsistency is exactly why people online keep questioning motives. And then when siblings start jumping online defending her or responding to Nigeria, critics say it only makes the situation look weaker instead of stronger, especially because when other people's families were getting dragged, trolling suddenly wasn't a problem back then, but now the energy is completely different. And let's talk about the foreclosure rumors too, because the second those conversations started getting challenged publicly, silence suddenly entered the chat. People noticed that. Anytime stories pop up that make Claressa look larger than life, like being labeled the highest paid female boxer or certain historical claims, those narratives get reposted and amplified fast. But when people return with receipts, timelines, or facts that contradict the story, suddenly everybody else becomes the liar. That contradiction is exactly why the backlash keeps growing. Now we got to get into what's been happening on Facebook, because this is where the internet detectives really started paying attention. Instead of directly calling names like she usually does, people noticed a switch up into memes, subliminals, sneak disses, and indirect shots, and viewers immediately caught the difference in energy. Usually it's loud, direct, and confrontational, but now it feels more calculated and passive-aggressive. If you're really standing on business, people are saying, then why hide behind coded posts instead of saying it with your chest? That's the question floating all over social media right now. What also stands out is how Claressa somehow keeps ending up in public fallout after public fallout with different people. At some point, people stop believing everybody else is the problem. The drama, the tension, the negativity, the constant accusations, it all keeps circling back to the same center point.
And whether fans want to admit it or not, that pattern is becoming harder to ignore. Because at the same time she's involved in all this mess, she also jumps into interviews trying to paint herself as the victim in every situation. Suddenly, everybody's an enemy, everybody's jealous, everybody's attacking her for no reason. But critics are pointing out that many of these same people were once close friends, supporters, collaborators, or useful connections at one point in time. Nigeria was cool when she was helping with styling, appearances, and presentation. Everything was fine as long as the relationship provided value. But once tension started building, the entire vibe changed overnight. And that's why so many people online are saying the issue isn't random drama anymore, it's a repeated cycle. Love people when they're useful, distance yourself when things stop benefiting you. That's the narrative gaining momentum right now. And whether fans agree or disagree, one thing is clear: this story is far from over. She'll build you up, use the connection for whatever benefits her in the moment, and then cut you off like none of it ever mattered. Just look at how she moved with Remy Ma. At one point, she was fully locked in, constantly showing support, watching everything Remy had going on day by day, liking posts, leaving comments, sending encouragement, acting like the biggest supporter in the room. Meanwhile, according to the accusations flying around online, she was allegedly eyeing Remy's husband the entire time, and people are calling that grimy behavior. Not only are viewers side-eyeing that situation, but critics also keep bringing up the fact that she allegedly got close to people connected to Remy too. That's why this backlash feels way deeper than regular celebrity gossip. Folks online are looking at it like calculated loyalty, and now the internet is asking a serious question. Was any of that friendship even genuine in the first place? Now let's get into the Facebook posts, because this is where the subliminal started getting real messy. Claressa Shields reposted messages talking about normalizing telling your friends they're bitter, salty, mad, fat, and sad, followed by laughing emojis and calling people ops like it was all some big joke. Then she doubled down with another message talking about people loving negativity and chaos too much, before ending it all with the God's favor over me angle. So basically, this was her internet clapback without directly saying names. But let's really unpack what's being implied here, because the timing says everything. It's funny how none of those
insults existed when she and Nigeria were cool. Back then, there was no bitter, no salty, no mad, no sneak disses. That energy only appeared after the friendship exploded publicly and people started exposing details behind the scenes. That's the part audiences keep pointing out. You didn't suddenly wake up and discover your friend was terrible overnight. Y'all were close. Y'all were moving like sisters at one point, at least publicly. But now that the fallout happened and more people are speaking out, suddenly everybody around you is fake, jealous, or secretly against you. And critics are saying the real issue is that too many people keep arriving at the exact same conclusion about Claressa. There have even been rumors floating around for a while that some people in her own circle don't genuinely rock with her like that anymore and only stay around because of what she can provide. That's why viewers keep paying attention when former friends start distancing themselves. Then Shalita allegedly claimed that Claressa threatens to financially cut off relatives if they communicate with her. And people online immediately started asking the obvious question: how does somebody supposedly know all this information if y'all allegedly haven't spoken in nearly a decade? The math isn't matching for a lot of viewers. Then there's the op talk, which a lot of people online are calling pure projection at this point, because critics say Claressa only stays loyal to whatever she believes will help her climb higher, gain more attention, or protect her image. And according to the Backlash online, she doesn't care who gets stepped on in the process. That's why the situation involving Papoose and Remy Ma keeps becoming such a huge topic. People are saying if things were really messy behind the scenes already, why rush to publicly pop out before everything was officially settled? Critics believe the relationship reveal felt more like damage control after rumors started spreading than some natural love story. And the internet definitely noticed the timing, especially because people online also keep bringing up other alleged entanglements connected to Claressa at the same time. That's why audiences keep saying the optics look terrible no matter how you spin it. What's wild is that many viewers believe Claressa doesn't even realize how obvious the pattern has become. She gets close to people, hypes them up publicly, acts supportive, gains trust, and then once the relationship no longer serves a purpose, the energy flips completely. Or the second somebody questions her, like Remy, supports somebody else, or even asks basic questions, suddenly they become enemies too. That's why Nigeria's questioning about Pop and Remy caught so much attention online. Because according to viewers, those questions hinted that Pop wasn't around nearly as consistently as Claressa wanted people to believe. The image being painted publicly didn't fully line up with what people behind the scenes were allegedly noticing. And once filming, appearances, or events wrapped up, critics say Pop was allegedly back running to New York immediately. That detail alone had social media spiraling with theories.
So when Claressa started crashing out online again, people weren't exactly shocked. In fact, many viewers said the emotional reactions only made the relationship rumors up shakier instead of stronger. Because a mature situation, at least according to public opinion, would have been handled way differently from the start. A lot of people believe that if somebody is truly serious about you, they handle unfinished business first before jumping publicly into another situation. That's why critics keep saying a more mature response would have been, finalize your divorce first, then come talk to me. But instead, people feel like the relationship got fast-tracked for public optics and revenge energy after the exposure started happening online. And ironically, critics believe that decision damaged Claressa more than anybody else involved. Because now people aren't just discussing boxing anymore.
They're discussing controversy, mess, and public image problems attached to her name constantly. According to the Backlash online, the damage has started bleeding into her brand, her public perception, and even conversations around women's boxing itself. Critics argue that constantly parading around with a man still publicly tied to another woman opened the door for non-stop scrutiny and backlash. But instead of quieting things down, Claressa keeps firing back on Twitter, throwing subs on Facebook, and posting slick memes on Instagram like viewers can't see exactly what's happening. That's why people keep saying the internet already made up its mind about the situation. Even friends, family, and people allegedly close to her reportedly see the red flags too. But instead of accepting criticism, critics say Claressa cuts people off the second they disagree with her or challenge her decisions. And according to many viewers online, that's also why she appears so bothered by the support Remy Ma still receives publicly. Because despite all the drama, Remy still has a strong fan base that continues riding for her regardless of the controversy. So let's really talk about it, because a lot of people online genuinely believed the whole Easy the Block Captain situation was supposed to completely destroy Remy Ma publicly. But here's the thing people underestimated. Remy is still a celebrity with real industry weight behind her. We've seen countless female stars survive cheating scandals, public embarrassment, messy headlines, and still come back stronger than ever. That's what happens when somebody has actual A-list status and years of respect attached to their name. And let's be honest, even with the Easy rumors, it wasn't Remy running around publicly pushing the story every day. Most of that noise came from blogs, social media, and outside voices keeping the drama alive. Meanwhile, people online say the bigger plan was for Papoose to fully lean into this victim narrative. But according to critics, the reality behind the scenes never fully matched the performance being sold online. Because despite all the public talk, people noticed Pap allegedly never fully left the home situation behind. According to online speculation, he was still connected to Remy's household far longer than people expected. Critics also keep pointing out that there was never any clear, finalized divorce process publicly moving forward the way folks assumed. The paperwork stunt after that The Breakfast Club interview had people talking for a minute, but now a whole year later, viewers are asking where the actual progress is. No finalized decree, no public hearings, no visible movement on the county docket. No signs of the situation being officially wrapped up the way the internet was led to believe. And that's why social media keeps asking who was really getting played this entire time. Because the story being presented publicly and the reality people think they're seeing behind the scenes are looking very different now. What's even more interesting is the growing belief online that Pap may never have truly wanted to fully let go of his marriage in the first place. Whether he's physically around Remy or not, critics say the emotional attachment and long-term connection still seem obvious. Because at the end of the day, people believe he understands exactly what Remy represents in the industry. She has real celebrity relationships, real influence, and years of credibility that can't be duplicated overnight. Just look at her connection with Fat Joe and other respected names around the culture. She successfully evolved beyond just being labeled a female rapper and turned herself into a full brand. Podcasts, television, business moves, appearances, she expanded her image far beyond music. And that's why many critics online feel Claressa made a major mistake by centering her image around a relationship controversy instead of building a stronger crossover brand outside of boxing. Now people are saying the frustration really comes from friends and family, allegedly.
Exposing the bigger picture behind the scenes. According to critics, the plan may have been for the Remy and Easy scandal to permanently damage Remy's reputation so Pap and Claressa could publicly move forward together without backlash. The expectation, at least according to internet chatter, was that eventually people would normalize it, support it, and move on. But that didn't exactly happen the way some thought it would. Instead, viewers started questioning motives, timelines, and intentions even harder.
And suddenly all the Remy is bitter, Remy is jealous, and Remy is miserable narratives people kept hearing online started looking less believable to audiences. Critics now argue that a lot of those talking points may have been projection all along. Because once the dust started settling, many viewers began reassessing who was really manipulating the narrative publicly. That's why some fans are now saying Remy may have been telling the truth more than people originally wanted to admit. According to online discussions, people now feel like Pap and Claressa were trying to recreate the same black love image and public admiration that Pap and Remy once received together. But when audiences refused to embrace the new situation the same way, frustration allegedly started spilling onto social media. Suddenly, everyone became broke, jealous, bitter, or haters whenever they disagreed. And critics say that's where the defensiveness became impossible to ignore, especially when the conversation shifted into attacking people's appearances and calling others ugly online. Because viewers say when somebody constantly goes after looks during arguments, it usually reveals deeper insecurities underneath the surface. And despite all the accomplishments Claressa already has in boxing, critics argue she still seems deeply threatened by Remy's public support and influence. What's crazy is that many people online believe none of this needed to happen in the first place. Claressa already has championships, accomplishments, headlines, and a career most athletes would dream of. That's why viewers keep asking why there's this constant need to allegedly exaggerate stories, push narratives, or chase validation online. Critics believe insecurity is what keeps fueling the chaos. Because despite everything that's happened, Remy still maintains a loyal fan base that continues supporting her publicly. And according to social media reactions, that reality seems to bother Claressa more than anything else. People say that's why the internet antics, sneak shots, and online drama keep escalating instead of slowing down. But in the process, critics argue she's slowly pushing away friends, family members, and longtime supporters one by one. And viewers are starting to wonder what happens when the circle gets smaller and smaller until only Pap is left standing there. And honestly, that's where the internet commentary gets the harshest. Because critics are now openly questioning how long that relationship can realistically survive under this much controversy, pressure, and public scrutiny. Some people online even believe the dynamic feels rooted more in competition and obsession than genuine stability. Then you add in the rumors, the baby conversations, the tension surrounding Pap's family situation, and the constant comparisons to Remy, and social media immediately turns it into a full-blown spectacle. That's why audiences keep describing the entire situation as messy, uncomfortable, and emotionally chaotic. People aren't just reacting to gossip anymore, they're reacting to patterns, behavior, and public perception. And whether you agree with the criticism or not, one thing is undeniable. This entire situation has completely shifted how a lot of viewers now see Claressa Shields publicly.